Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session with Rosemary Newell, who is the new head of Itv Digital. So she is at the helm of 6 channels and is overseeing hundreds of hours of television. So basically, she's a pretty big deal, and she can commission your shows and maybe indirectly, therefore, pay your mortgages. The jewel in her crown is Itv 2, which is currently riding high in the digital charts off the back of lots of successes, including, of course, this summer's Love Island. And the question is, will it be able to stay there? And Rosemary's going to tell us, probably yes. She's only held the role for 6 weeks, spent the last 3 weeks of those on holiday in Australia. It's my kind of lady. She
dedicated to the job.
She is going to battle her jet lag now to tell us her vision for the channels, and has promised a sneak peek at ITV2's latest commission.
I've been involved in channel management for a long time, and to have a chance to look at that family of ITV channels was just irresistible.
Can you give us an overview then, from your point of view of the portfolio?
Sure.
Like a line on what you think each channel is.
Sure. So I think the important place to start is with ITV, which is obviously the main channel. It's absolutely at the heart of popular culture across the country. And its role is to attract audiences in high volume. The digital portfolio then has the responsibility of really honing down and targeting specific audiences. So we have 6 channels, and I would say that across the 6 channels, pretty much everyone in the land is covered by one or more of those networks. So without sounding too morbid, we sort of go cradle to grave on across the population.
Am I dying ITV3?
No, very much alive. But we start with CITV, which is aimed at 6 to 12-year-olds, both boys and girls. And then we move up a little bit in the age to ITV2, which is a channel completely obsessed with and dedicated to young adults. So anyone under 35. It's a home of outrageous entertainment. It's fun, it's in your face. Key to what happens on ITV2 is that you really wouldn't see that content on ITV. It's for both men and women. We then also have the relatively new channel ITV B, which launched a couple of years ago. And ITV B, it targets very specifically young women, young mums, and it's a sort of home of reality television. It's for all of those audiences who just want to gorge on reality telly. Which it does very successfully. So ITV is really for when women can get control of the remote. When the men then fight their corner, we have ITV4. And ITV4 is a top 10 channel for men, and it again is very targeted with its sports content, fantastic Tour de France cycling, French Open tennis, snooker, darts, and so on. Plus lots of cult classics and movies for men. And then moving up the age range a little is to ITV3. And ITV3 is really a home, or it's a sort of heartland ITV audience channel. It's for ITV drama and factual content. It does very, very well in Freeview homes, and it's for those people who are just looking for something outside of the ITV main channel. And then finally, we have Itv Encore, which is a kind of boutique drama channel for lovers of contemporary British drama, and that's just in Sky Homes.
Okay.
So that is the full range.
And what's your brief from up high then? Is it just the classic more audience, more revenue?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Yes, it is. It's growth. I mean, it is, as I say, commercially, I guess it is to really, really deliver against those particular audiences that the channels are dedicated to, and then to grow the audience in those particular demographics. So for ITV2, all we care about is that we are reaching young adults, and success will be measured in whether we're reaching more of them or less of them.
Okay, let's start with ITV2.
Yeah.
I guess that the summer of 2016 will be remembered, certainly by me, as the summer of Love Island. Why did it make such a splash, do you think?
How long have we got on this?
Long as you like.
Love Island, I mean, I was so lucky. I joined about halfway through the series and was obsessed. I'm already looking forward to the next series. That was the first decision I had to make, and probably the easiest I will ever have to make. Love Island, let's not forget, is made by the team who also make I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. So it's got incredible pedigree. You know, it's Richard Cowles and his team. They know how to make those shows work. But I guess the most phenomenal thing about Love Island for me is that it reached younger viewers. You know, in a climate where everybody is saying telly doesn't know how to find young audiences, Love Island absolutely categorically disproved all of that. Its audience doubled from last year. Every single episode got more than 1 million viewers. The average was about 1.5. Its profile was phenomenal, as I say, with those younger audiences, and it became a sort of national talking point. For me, I found it very funny. So it sits perfectly on ITV2, which we want to be a funny and entertaining channel. And the kind of comedy commentary from Ian Sterling, I found absolutely hilarious. I couldn't imagine Love Island without his voice. And there are some classic lines that he delivered in that show. So for me, it was very, very funny. But everywhere you went, people were talking about it. You know, just after I joined, there was a party, an ITV party with MPs. And it was the week after the referendum. Nobody was talking about that. They were all asking about who's doing what on Love Island. They all wanted to know about the islanders. It was fantastic. You know, even a gaggle of MPs couldn't resist it. So, I don't know.
Sort
it was
of uniquely depressing, actually.
Yes. I know.
I mean, great for ITV.
Great for ITV.
But absolutely terrible for the country.
Yes, slightly worrying.
Maybe have a think about it, guys.
The bigger picture, yeah. But hey, at the time, I wasn't worried about that.
No, fine.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, it's just been an incredible success and a happy show to have on the channel. I think the other thing I wanted just to mention about it is it's not a show that's always watched at the time that we schedule it on television. It's a show that really embraces all the other platforms that people have available. So again, particularly for young audiences who don't necessarily want to sit down at 9 o'clock just because we've decided it's going to be on at 9 o'clock, they watch it on Catch Up, they watch it on the Hub, they watch it on a different device. So 20% of its audience is actually not from the television screen, which is quite extraordinary.
And so does it feel quite channel defining now then, Love Island, for ITV2?
I think it does. I think it has a funny bone. I think it speaks to younger viewers. I think it brings people, it brings attention to the channel because people are talking about it. I think it's absolutely unambiguously about an area of life that people are fascinated by, particularly those younger audiences. So, you know, friendships, bitching, dating, sex, all of that, that's absolutely at the heart of what our viewers care about, talk about and do. So it's sort of bang on.
So this year at Edinburgh, we've decided to allow some of the great and good of television the chance to ask you questions directly via the video wall, which may or may not work, clearly. First up, Andrew Mckenzie from 2-4.
Hello, Rosemary. I understand that now that you have Love Island, you're the new pornographer-in-chief of British television. Do you intend to commission a raft of other shows of that ilk?
Well, I mean, pornographer-in-chief, it's got a nice ring to it.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Hugh Hefner, Paul Raymond, Rosemary Newell.
Yeah. Gosh, Andy Max called me lots of things over the years, but he's never called me that before. Do we intend to do a raft of shows like that? If he means by that, do we intend to do lots of shows that do phenomenally well, that make tons of money and reach loads and loads of viewers and get everyone talking, then yes, we do.
No, it means you're going to do more porno stuff.
No, but yeah. But as I say, look, we're going to do shows that are in those spaces that people care about. So is there a likelihood that we're going to have people having sex on television again? Yeah, quite possibly. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother any of our audiences. Mm-hmm. You know, we had a trickle, not an avalanche, a trickle of people complaining, and none of them were obviously in our target audience at all. So to me, the show always was the right line of good taste. We were always after the woodshed. There was nothing particularly explicit in there. So I'm very, very relaxed and comfortable with the way in which we portrayed the sex in the show. And yeah, bring it on. We'll have more, I'm sure.
Do you have an ambition to do more stripped shows?
Yes. So absolutely, thank you. That's a good point. As I said, to do season 3 of Love Island was the easiest decision in the world. But we're also very actively looking for another stripped event for next year. Love Island ran at 6 weeks. We'll probably be looking at doing something slightly shorter, but something that works in real time, talks to that younger audience, probably focuses on some of those areas that we've been talking about, could have a competitive format element to it, but critically is something that people are going to be talking about and are going to be feeling like in pain if they have missed last night's episode. They're going to have to watch it day to day to day. Because our audiences, they're on Instagram accounts, they're on social media, they know what's going on. So if we're making a show and putting it out weeks later, it's old news by that point. So we have to be incredibly relevant and keep the shows in this sort of ilk running in real time. So yes, there is definitely a call out for another stripped event. I think, if I may say, that Love Island, I think, has upped the ante a bit, and I know that other channels are now looking at it and thinking, what else could we do next? I can't resist just saying this, but we did pretty much beat Big Brother for 16 to 34's every episode of the show. So that was a bit of a turning point for the show. So I know other channels will be looking, but we know how to speak to that audience, and yeah, we want more.
Okay. Have you seen Battle Royale, the film? I'm going to pitch you something,
Okay.
Rosemary. Also, if you want to ask questions, we're not going to allow you to put your hands up at the end because that's so old-fashioned. We're going to get you to submit them via the app. I don't know where the app is, on your phone or something, and then I'll read them off here. So that's how you do that.
So everyone with their heads down is not playing Candy Crush. They're
I know, I think
they're
75% are.
Yeah, okay.
And 20% are just checking the time.
Yeah.
But 5%, Rosemary, are asking you questions. What is the DNA of ITV2 then, to sum it up?
Outrageous entertainment, in your face, fun, young, but also warm-hearted. We're not a mean channel. We're not sneery. We're not kind of super cool. We just have.
Safe word?
I have, Rick, funnily
It's
enough.
quite mean and sneery.
It can be mean and sneery, but it's as long as we keep it the right side. I mean, Celebrity Juice can be quite mean, but it's also got a real warmth to it. And I think, for example, Holly and Fern really, really helped to temper that with Keith when he really goes for it. But it's not it's a channel, I think, that kind of, this is going to sound so corny, but it's got a real love of life. It's very exuberant, and I think you'd want to hang out with some of the people that you see on ITV2.
You mentioned Celebrity Juice. Obviously, does incredibly well for you. It's in its 15th series.
Yeah.
Does it still have mileage? Can you see that just carrying on and on?
Do you know, it's an award-winning show. Its audience for the last series went up. It's incredibly inventive. The team on that show are brilliant, and the games that they think of from season to season, they just keep reinventing it. So I think it's still got legs. And Lee Francis has ideas pouring out of him constantly. So I think we will see that show carry on, grow and change and evolve. And again, it does incredibly well. We started the last series with a live episode, which got nearly 2 million viewers. So again, they're always thinking of different ways to do it. So yeah, definitely.
And we saw a clip of Plebs earlier as well. That does very well with young men. Is that an especially important market for ITV2?
It is, yes. I mean, the comedy on ITV2 tends to skew slightly towards men. And yeah, it's great to have more young men watching the channel. And Plebs grew again last year. So, this year. So it's the most recent series, again, did the best of all of them. So it's great.
And I was obviously going to ask a question about the acquisition of Family Guy.
Yeah.
But what is better than me asking? Obviously, Danielle Luck's asking.
Okay.
Hi, Rosemary. What effect do you think Family Guy has had on the channel, and how do you intend to build on that?
Okay. Acquiring Family Guy and American Dad was a very smart move. can't take any credit for it, obviously. But great to keep the shows in free-to-air television when BBC Three went online. So Family Guy has been a real success since it launched in February. And I think the impact it has is, from a commercial point of view, it sits in the schedule late night, every night, and it delivers young viewers. 60% of its audience is under 35. So it's absolutely spot on for ITV2. And it does deliver young men as well, which is helpful. So our young men audiences have grown 30% year on year, which is pretty impressive. So it's a big tick for the ad sales guys. But more importantly for me, the job that it kind of does within the schedule is that it provides an environment in which we can introduce more comedy. So if we have those shows on, as I say, late night, every night, then there is a context into which to launch scripted comedy that we may make ourselves, or US acquired comedy that we buy in. So we have some reputation for comedy. I would like to inch that reputation forward a little bit. As I said, Plebs did brilliantly this time, and it can't be a coincidence that it was kind of surrounded by other smart, sassy, brilliant comedy. So it's a really good launch pad and a really good environment to try and increase the amount of comedy we have on the channel, and to get people to realise that we've got more of a reputation
to give
in
you
that
a
space.
Stronger comedy identity.
Absolutely.
Which actually is exactly what Angela Jane said last year when she knew that they were going to start showing it.
Yeah.
We've seen a 10% increase in ITV2's audience. Why do you think that is, and can you maintain that kind of growth?
Yeah, I mean, this year has been extraordinary, and our growth for 16 to 34s, I keep mentioning 16 to 34s, but you can't mention them enough, is nearly 30%. So that's pretty staggering. That's been helped hugely by the Seth MacFarlane shows, by Plebs doing the best it's ever done, by Celebrity Juice growing, by Love Island and so on. So it's a hell of a tall order to keep the growth at that level. But I think now we have a stronger start point. We have a stronger springboard. So as we come to bring new shows into the schedule, hopefully they will do disproportionately better. And if that doesn't happen, I won't be sitting here next year.
Yeah, okay. And you must be obviously absolutely delighted that BBC Three moved online.
For ITV2, yes. For the BBC, I think it was disappointing to see BBC Three move online, I have to say, because it was creating some important distinctive content on linear television. But there's a ThinkBox piece of research that came out this week, which is saying that audiences for the BBC in that younger space have definitely declined year on year. No surprise. We have benefited. Commercial television has definitely benefited. So, yeah, from an ITV2 point of view, it helps. It's helped a bit.
All you need now is for E4 to go off air, and you will be laughing.
Yeah.
So for ITV2, what are you looking for in panel shows, formatted entertainment, and scripted?
Okay,
and how much room do you have?
So there is quite a bit of flexibility. We are not fully commissioned for next year by any means. I think there was a fear that the money that was spent on Family Guy would mean there wasn't anything left. That's absolutely categorically not the case. So we still are looking alongside the likes of Celebrity Juice. We are looking for other formatted entertainment with a mix of existing and new talent. Very, very happy to bring on new faces onto the channel, but we've also got a roster of other faces that we're very, very happy to see on ITV2. As I say, I think the shows need to have that absolutely distinctive feel. They must be shows that you could not imagine being on ITV. They can push the envelope, they can go quite far, but as I said, we don't want anything that is too cruel. We want warmth and humour. And yeah, we've got places at 9 o'clock for hour-long shows, and we've also definitely got room at 10 within that environment, as I say, of the Seth MacFarlane content. So there is definitely space. We don't want derivative shows. We want things that will make a lot of noise. I mean, it's the most unoriginal comment I know, but when you're running a digital channel, you can't have a quiet show. It's pointless.
Yeah. If you were going to announce anything new to ITV2, now feels like a good time.
Here's my moment. Okay, this is very exciting for me. and very exciting for the channel because we are today announcing a new scripted comedy. So we say that we want more comedy, and then we've only ever had plebs. So now we are actually putting our money where our mouth is, and we are launching Time Wasters. Time Wasters is a brand new comedy from Big Talk Productions. It's written by Daniel Lawrence Taylor, and when I arrived, I was shown the pilot, and it was a kind of immediate, this is perfect ITV2. It's very high concept, it's a very eccentric, slightly bonkers idea, essentially a jazz quartet, not a very good jazz quartet, of young kids are rehearsing in a dilapidated flat in South London, and one of them swaps a packet of Jaffa cakes with a tramp for the ability to time travel. And they go into, stay with me. They go into a lift and they travel back to the 1920s. And they emerge from this lift into 1920s London, and it's not what Downton Abbey would have led them to think it was going to be, really. So the series is about the struggles of this quartet to be accepted and to accept what they're seeing around them. They meet all sorts of crazy people. There's a fantastic cameo performance from Kevin Eldon, and it's bonkers and incredibly funny. So I am absolutely thrilled, and we're going to have Time Wasters on air next year.
It's obviously quite risque. Is that something that appeals as well, knowing that the press and social media will pick
absolutely.
up on that?
Yeah, I mean, it explores. It's a comedy, so it's essentially its job is to be very funny, but it also explores race, class, gender, all sorts of things. It makes you think, but it makes you laugh. It's absolutely wonderful. And Daniel Lawrence Taylor is a great talent, and he's got some good plans for the series. So I am very, very excited about it.
If you do a show on ITV2 that isn't an immediate hit, will you stick with it, or are the commercial pressures such that actually you need things to land straight away? So, if this didn't do as well as you hoped, would you still bring it back for another series to allow it to grow?
I mean, yes. We're not completely draconian. So, yes, if something is much loved and has got legs and we believe in it, we'll bring it back. So there's a show that I think people will be familiar with called Release the Hounds, which is, again, if you listen to the brief about what we're looking for, you then look at Release the Hounds and you think, how did that happen? I mean, it's a completely crazy show, terrifying, but rather brilliant. It did quite well. But we kind of loved it, and I think the team very much felt, there's more scope for this show. So it's come back, and we're going to see another series next year and another Halloween special as well. So it also happened to win an RTS award for Best Entertainment Programme. So, if a show is quality, respected, loved, and we think there's still more life in it, then we'll bring it back. But we need things to work. We're a commercial organisation, so...
In 2016, do we really need a channel that is aimed at intelligent young mums? Is that not just a little bit retrograde?
I don't think so. I mean, Itv B came about a couple of years ago because we were looking at a commercial problem with that particular audience. So the decision was taken to move TOWIE across from ITV2 and launch Itv B. So really, it's a smart channel. It's quite an intelligent channel, but it is it's a haven for people that can go that just to completely and utterly fest on all of that content that they love. And it tends to be watched by young women, and it tends to be watched by people who are it's their guilty pleasure. So they find times of the day when they can watch the channel. It's a very social channel. Again, a lot of the viewing to the shows on Itv B doesn't necessarily take place on the television. It takes place on other devices. It takes place at other times of the day. But it kind of is it's a place that we've kind of cornered where people can just go, okay, leave me alone. This is just my time. And the people who tend to do that are young mums. So a time. Haven't got that much time on their hands, so they want to spend some hours with Itv B, and it's been pretty successful. And actually, if you look at the combined performance now of Itv B with ITV2, we're doing way better than when we just had ITV2. So it's a move that's worked.
And do you think the branding of the channel might put men off, though, who might otherwise quite enjoy the shows? Like, do you know exactly who's watching?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty skewed towards women. There's no doubt about that. Mind you, I keep meeting people who come out of the closet as B watchers. You know, they don't like to admit it at first. But
I wouldn't put that in your marketing.
No, but you know, and that does include some men. But no, it tends not to be a co-viewing channel. It tends to be more for women, absolutely. But as I say, it's a sort of it's a place where, if you love nosing around into other people's lives, you know, it's very glamorous, it's very aspirational. The characters, as you can see in the Real Housewives of Cheshire, they're big characters. So I think it really does perform a role for some people. It's a real favourite channel for a lot of people. And we've got, The Only Way is Essex is obviously the key brand for the channel. Real Housewives of Cheshire is another very successful show. It's just come off the back of its most successful run so far. What we want is a third show. We don't have enough. We want more content on the channel. We want to offer people more choices. So we are looking for a third pillar to sit alongside those two massive franchises.
And reality again?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty open. I think we want to talk to people about possibly celebrity access shows, or shows about relationships, maternity, weddings. It could even be property and food. It's quite a wide range of areas that we could be interested in. But it really is it's the potential to have another big title on Itv B, so that we're more, you know, evenly spread across the year, and that our viewers are always getting something new. And
have you got much for that?
We've got money. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely, yes, and we are actively looking for that third title. We have got also, we're very excited about Sam Fair's Baby Diaries, which is coming up later on this year. So if people take a look at that, that's very much in the vein of what we're looking for. Okay,
I'll tell you what I'm missing. The video wall. Let's go to it again. Jane Millichip has a question.
Hi Rosemary. Millennials are culturally promiscuous and brand disloyal. They refuse to be advertised to or scheduled for. Are they lost to linear TV forever? And are the current overlords of television just ill-equipped to reach them?
Upbeat stuff.
That's a doom-laden question, isn't it?
So they're brand disloyal, they don't want to be advertised to. Are they lost?
Well, it's interesting. That is obviously the talk of the moment, isn't it? It was Liz Warner's speech about it as well. There's obviously a view that young people aren't watching television at all. I kind of think we proved all that wrong, though. I hate to go, well, I don't hate to go back to Love Island. I love to go back to Love Island. But just to mention it again, Love Island reached younger viewers in their millions. You know, they watched on television. They also watched on other devices. We had 35 million requests from the hub to watch Love Island. So to say that we're ill-equipped to reach them, I think it does the production team on Love Island a slight disservice, because actually we did reach them. Obviously they're fickle, and they're you know, they are exploring other ways of they're not always watching linear television. But again, look at the Thinkbox piece of research. The amount of time people are spending in that age group watching television has not dropped. So I don't think it's quite as grim as everybody would like to make out.
And so you're confident you're going to keep those people viewing,
yep.
ITV2
yep.
in particular, I suppose?
Yeah. It's down to the people in this room to come up with the ideas to do it.
No pressure, guys. Average age in here? Yeah, let's not think about it. Moving on to the rest of your portfolio, is it a bit of a nightmare trying to run 6 channels?
Well, I've only been doing it for 6 weeks, as you say. So
3 weeks.
Yeah. So far, I'm loving it. It's a bit like having 6 kids, and you've got to make sure you give them all the love.
Yeah.
But
which one would you put up for adoption?
I'm never going to answer that.
No, fair enough. 3.
No. No!
Huh?
No, it's not a nightmare at all. It's fantastic. There's a great team. And they all do a very different job, as we say. They all have, absolutely, they know who their audience is, who they're targeting, who they're for. So, and they're all complementary to each other, and they all work incredibly closely with ITV, the main channel, as well. So, no, it's not a nightmare. It's brilliant.
ITV4's
yep.
ratings are on the slide. how are you going to halt the decline?
On the slide, that sounds a bit too negative. I'd change that to down a bit.
Going down.
Look, we've lost some European football.
Yeah.
So inevitably, you're going to see the consequences of that. But, you know, we have a really passionate fan base, and we can attract significant numbers of people and do something like the Tour de France this year. You know, when Chris Froome came off his bike and had to run up the mountain, up Mount Ventoux, to make sure he didn't lose time in that particular stage. We found over 1 million people coming to the highlights of that on ITV4. So people know where to find the channel. We are going to be quite aggressive in competing for sports rights opportunistically. You know, we have a good portfolio across snooker and darts and cycling, motor racing, and tennis. We have the French Open tennis again, which did incredibly well this year. And next year, I think people will be aware the horse racing comes to ITV. So ITV4 will be a big home for horse racing as well. So it's hard. It's undeniably hard because sports rights are being very, very fiercely fought for. But we're in the game, without doubt.
Will you put anything else on ITV4 except just pure sports coverage?
Yeah, we do. I mean, there is some opportunity for some commissioning as well on 4. You know, we do take advantage of anniversaries and we mark particular events. So we would do single docs, like we noted the Hand of God, the Maradona documentary, which went out in the summer on the anniversary of that. So there are some commissioning opportunities, definitely, and we're also kind of in the men's lifestyle space a little bit. So we've got a couple of great fishing shows as well. So it's not pure sport. We've also got a lot of acquired series and movies as well.
And would you look for any formats or not really there?
Being brutally honest, if they come with some ad funding, I think that would help.
Okay.
We're not going to fully fund formatted shows, but we're definitely open to people's ideas.
Okay. And are there any commissioning opportunities outside of ITV2 and Itv B on the other channels?
There is on Encore, in that we have a commitment on original drama on Itv Encore. So we have Dark Heart coming up this autumn, which is a single drama, psychological thriller. And we have 2 or 3 other major drama pieces for Itv Encore next year. But we don't commission on ITV3 in any great volume. And on kids, yeah, we've got a handful of shows each year. Things like Thunderbirds Are Go, the Bear Grylls Survival School show. But yeah, that's fairly obviously specialised area.
And in terms of how your commissioning structure works, what's the best way to get ideas to you and your team?
Before I started at ITV, everyone would say to me, it's a very lean place, it's very uncomplicated, and I have to say, it really is. It's so straightforward, it's so easy to get ideas into the channel. People can either bring things directly to me, and I will then talk with the commissioning teams, with Peter Davey, with Shu, with Sue Murphy, or they can go directly to those commissioning teams and they will talk to me. Anyone who's been onto the 21st floor of ITV Towers will know that we can all pretty much shout at each other anyway. So it's small, it's incredibly straightforward and uncomplicated. So there should never be a problem in terms of an idea getting to the right place. But I'm respectful of the commissioning teams, so my preference would be that people go to the commissioning editors.
So you'll be liaising with your commissioning teams
All the
rather
time.
than sort of, you don't really want people to approach you
I'm
directly.
I'm very happy to talk to people, but ultimately they should talk to the developers and the commissioners.
Okay. Time for one last question from, obviously, our friend, the video wall. This is from Jazz Gowans.
Rosemary, how will ITV2 stay on top in the digital market in the next 12 months?
Oh, you should ask me that question this time next year, really, and see if it has. I mean, we have a fantastic raft of shows coming up. Love Island will be back again, bigger and better next year. Ibiza Weekender comes back next year in its 6th season. Celebrity Juice is back. We have a brand new show being made for us by 2-4. It's the Talpa format, Dating in the Dark, which comes this autumn. We have scope, as I've said, for a lot more panel shows and formatted entertainment shows. So off the back of the strengths that we've got in the schedule already, I think ITV2 will stay ahead of the game.
Okay. Now then, this app, see if it's working and if we have any questions. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, I see. It's anonymous. That's why it's good. So first question from We Don't Know Who. How has BBC Three's move online affected what you're commissioning?
We've kind of covered it a bit, haven't we?
Yes.
Yes. It's, well, BBC Three's move online, I guess, has meant there is more space for producers to bring ideas to us and for audiences as well. So there is definitely some upside for ITV2. But, we know what we are, we're true to what we're trying to achieve, and a lot of what BBC Three used to do is not really the content that we would necessarily be airing anyway. So it's a bit of an opportunity, but not huge.
So you're not looking at what BBC Three was doing and thinking we could take some of that identity. You're happy with where it is?
Yeah, and we had a very successful brand refresh last year on ITV2. So I think right now, I think we know exactly who we are and what we want to be.
Okay. Right. Next up, what are ITV's thoughts on commissioning formats that include VR, 360 and augmented reality? I don't know.
I think our thoughts are minimal on that. It's not something that we're
not going to happen.
We're not.
Fine.
It's not focused on it at the moment.
Okay. What sort of content are you looking for but not getting? VR and 360.
Yes, obviously. Gosh, again, I think we've covered a lot of this, haven't we? On ITV2, we're looking for another stripped event.
Yeah.
Not to say we're not getting them, because we've got ideas coming in. We're looking for more entertainment and comedy. Definitely want to increase our comedy staple. On Itv B, we are looking for another show to sit alongside Towie and Housewives. Okay. We want hits. It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, just deliver the hits. Would you commission female-led scripted comedy for ITV2? That's a good question.
Why wouldn't we?
Because
Why wouldn't
it's
we?
Male skewing.
Oh, and men don't watch women on telly? Yes, of course. Of course. I mean, look, we've definitely put the message out there that we are in the game for more scripted comedy. That's why it's so good to see Time Wasters now being green-lit. We definitely want more. So we're looking at scripts. I definitely don't look at those scripts and think to myself, female cast, not interested. So, no.
So, yes, you will do female-led.
Yes.
Good.
Sorry.
Do you plan to introduce more audience interactivity via social media and apps on shows such as Love Island? If so, what would you like to see?
The Love Island app was a big success this year, actually, and I think it really added to deepened people's relationship with the show. So I think on Itv B and Itv2 in particular, we are pretty active with social media. The teams are very, very skilled on Housewives, on dinner dates, on all the shows across those two channels. So I think more of the same, to be absolutely honest. Okay.
Will Family Guy remain exclusive to ITV2, or will we start seeing it on ITV4? Niche question.
No, it's on ITV2, and that's where it will remain.
Good. Did you give Time Wasters a green light as a result of LA Screening's time travel theme last May?
No.
No.
That was easy.
That question, with respect, feels like someone's just showing off that they know what the theme was at this thing. I actually went to the LA screenings and they did a time travel thing, and I was just wondering if I could tell you about it. Of course, it doesn't work as well when it's anonymous. Parents need new content at all times of the day to keep kids entertained. Lazy parents. Are there plans to make a separate CITV app?
Not at the moment, no. No, I mean,
Unlucky parents.
CITV is on screen all the time, so they can put their kids in
should
front
be
of that.
enough.
Yeah,
Exactly. Okay. What do you expect to be your biggest challenge in your new role at ITV Digital?
Keeping the momentum of growth, I think. You know, just keeping the channels feeling fresh and original, always having shows that we want to shout about, having schedules that are, you know, full of new ideas, and making sure that we connect with our audiences.
Okay. Who makes the decisions for cross-pollination across the ITV channels? For example, Nathan and Cara from Love Island, now on Towie. Is it a bid to increase audiences?
It's interesting because I think there is a group of sort of reality celebrities, and a lot of these guys they go from one show to the other, and so there is already that cross-pollination. They all know each other, they all go to the same clubs and so on. Nathan is friends with a lot of the guys in Towie already, so he comes out of Love Island and we think, let's get him in Towie. It kind of makes complete sense. So we just keep an eye to all of those relationships and friendships that we know exist and try and foster them a bit more.
With the understanding that will hopefully bring an audience across.
Of course. I mean, Towie has, as you know, a lot of its own stars, and but you know, you can just sprinkle a bit more fairy dust into the show when you see Nathan and Cara in there as well, particularly when they're riding off the back of winning Love Island.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking for original commissions? Oh, I think we've done this, but anyway, for original commissions for ITV Encore. If so, what? Actually, I think maybe you said maybe, but I suppose that's all contingent on Sky, isn't it? Really,
is.
You have less
it's all part
say in.
of the commercial negotiations with Sky. But at the moment, we have a slate of drama which takes us through to the beginning of 2018. So we're not actively looking for anything more at the moment.
Okay, but you may do in the future.
Absolutely.
You just basically have no idea.
Absolutely.
Okay. Some people would say ITV has too many channels. What do you say to that? Don't shoot the messenger.
ITV has the right number of channels to reach all the households across the country. It would be my answer to that. So I think we've got a pretty smart portfolio. I think, as I mentioned at the beginning, you know, we kind of cover all our bases. We touch everybody. So I don't think we've got too many. It would be boring for me if we had fewer anyway. So I think we're happy with the 6.
Okay. What is your short form strategy?
I'll tell you in a month's time.
Do you have one yet?
No.
Okay. Good to be honest.
I'm sure somebody does. I just can't talk to it right now. But yeah.
Okay, fine. For scripted, should indies pitch genre teams, or can we approach you direct? Is a pitch enough, or do you need script and talent attached?
As I said, you can come to me, or you can certainly go to the drama team under Polly, or Peter, Davey and Saskia in the comedy entertainment team. We will obviously tend to start with the concept, and we're very, very unlikely to green light without scripts.
But will you, from a pitch, give someone a bit of money to write the script?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, well, this is actually sort of a self-reflexive question. I think this is the best question. Was my question the best, Andy Mckenzie?
What does he want from me, I wonder? Yeah. Of course, Andy Mac. Is he here? Cheeky ass.
When might we see an app where people can download shows and keep them on their phones?
Good question. Yeah, that is something that the online team is developing, I believe, at the moment. So that would be a great step forward for the app, for the hub. Yeah.
Okay. I think that is us out of questions and pretty much out of time. Just remains for me to thank our sponsor, Broadcast, and obviously the new controller of ITV Digital, Rosemary Newell.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the festival.